Do you think Joe would kill me if I came home with this? Just on the top of our car? What? I love ice cream. One of the best parts of living up here is there is some seriously good antiquing. This week I'm heading to Brimfield, which is one of the biggest outdoor antique markets in the country. I went to Brimfield once before and I was seriously underprepared for how big it is. So this year I'm doing it right. I'm gonna meet some friends there and I'm gonna pack a picnic so we can eat lunch after we shop. The good stuff goes quick at Brimfield, so we've gotta get there super early tomorrow. Today, I'm prepping a chickpea salad that's gonna marinate overnight and be even more delicious tomorrow. And then tomorrow at Brimfield, I'm gonna make a giant sandwich on a fresh baguette with some mozzarella and coppa, and then I'm gonna cut it into individual sandwiches. After I make the chickpea salad, I'm gonna make a really delicious spread with some tomato paste, some hot cherry peppers. It's gonna be the perfect spicy condiment for our sandwiches. Let's get started. I'm gonna start with the dressing. This salad is kind of inspired by some Italian flavors, so I'm using red wine vinegar to make the dressing. So we're gonna start with 2 tablespoons. To that, I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons of minced red onion. Next, I'm gonna add half a teaspoon dried oregano. Also kind of makes this feel like an Italian dressing. And then we'll season this with some salt and plenty of black pepper. Now I'm gonna add 1/3 cup olive oil. And then slowly, as I'm pouring, I'll just whisk it in. And that's gonna help the dressing get emulsified and thickened and stay that way after it's been sitting for a while. Give this a little extra whisk just for good measure. Perfect, see how that's nice and thick? So I'm just gonna set this aside while we make the rest of our salad. The reason that I make the dressing first in this case is because I want the red onions to really kind of marinate and soften a little bit, and they're really gonna flavor the dressing. I'm just gonna clear some of the stuff that I don't need, and then we'll make our salad. Chickpeas make a really great base for salads that you're making in advance because they hold their shape really well and they don't become soggy the way that white beans can. So I've got 2 cans of chickpeas that I rinsed and drained in a big bowl. Next, I'm gonna add some celery. Again, super crunchy. The sandwiches that I'm making tomorrow are gonna have lots of meat and cheese. I want the salad to be really nice and fresh and have a really nice crunch. So I'm gonna chop up about 2 celery ribs, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut them on the diagonal, and that's gonna make them kind of longer, bigger pieces. See how I just have my celery coming in at an angle to my knife? And I'm going about 1/4 of an inch thick here. We want about 1.5 cups. Doesn't have to be exact. That's the nice thing about making a salad. You just kind of want the general proportion to be right, but it's not as scientific as baking. Next thing I'm gonna do is some radicchio. This is gonna add, first of all, a nice pop of color, but also a little bit of a bitter flavor. I tend to use kind of heartier greens like kale or radicchio or cabbage in something I'm making in advance. If you use something more tender like arugula or romaine, it's gonna wilt. So we're cutting this just like you would cut a cabbage. I cut it in half, remove the core, and I'm just gonna cut crosswise like I'm making coleslaw. And I'm looking for about 1/4 inch thick shred, similar to the celery. We're gonna do about 2 cups radicchio right in the bowl. 1 more cup. And then the rest of this I'm just gonna set aside. If you don't like radicchio, which I know some people find it bitter, you could use red cabbage here. I'm kind of leaning into the Italian inspiration of this salad with the radicchio, but use what you prefer. Next up, I have 1/2 cup of pitted green olives. I'm gonna chop these into pretty fine pieces. That way we get a little bit of that briny olive flavor in each bite. Add these to the bowl. Next, I'm going to grab some parsley. I feel like people often think of parsley as just a garnish, but it actually has a ton of flavor. It has kind of like a peppery brightness that's going to be really nice in this salad. So I'm going to cut up about a half cup of parsley. Should do it. We don't need to go too fine with this. I kind of like a little bit of texture and having those pops of bright green. I'm gonna eyeball this. I think this is about a half a cup. Right in. Now, some of you are not gonna like this. I'm adding raisins to our salad. I happen to love raisins. I think adding dried fruit to salads adds just the perfect little bite of sweet, and it really puts everything in balance. Especially in a salad when we've got some bitter, we've got some tangy from the olives, we've got the chickpeas, we've got the celery, the sharp kind of parsley flavor. Just a little bit of sweetness is really gonna make for the perfect bite. I'm just gonna do 1/3 of a cup. Why golden raisins? I just like them better. They feel less like raisins, if that makes sense. The other thing that's nice about adding golden raisins is they're gonna become really plump and juicy and absorb any extra moisture in the salad. So they'll be really flavorful and they'll prevent the salad from becoming soggy. All right, there's one more ingredient to add, but first I want to give everything a nice toss to get everything really well combined. And then we'll add our dressing. Okay, let's give this a toss. Might seem like a lot of dressing, but the chickpeas are gonna soak up that dressing overnight. So I wanna make sure to put plenty of dressing on so it'll be really delicious when we eat it tomorrow. Okay, that looks good. Last step, I'm gonna add about 1/3 of a cup shaved Parmesan. This is gonna add the perfect salty finish to this salad. It's gonna be the final element that really pulls everything together. Tossing it gently because I don't wanna break up the pieces. And then last but not least, I'm just gonna hit it with some black pepper. And that's it. I'm gonna cover this up, pop it in the fridge so it'll be ready to go first thing in the morning, and then we'll make our sandwich spread. Got everything cleaned up, and I'm gonna make the sandwich spread for tomorrow. The sandwiches are gonna have mozzarella and some thinly sliced coppa, and this is just gonna be like a tomatoey, spicy, peppery condiment, essentially. So I'm starting by turning my burner on to like medium-low heat. And I'm gonna warm up about 3 tablespoons of olive oil. I've got a half a cup minced shallots. I did these beforehand so you didn't have to watch me cry, because boy do I cry. Just adding these to the hot oil. And I'm gonna cook until they're just starting to caramelize. I don't wanna fry these, so if they start browning too quickly, I'll lower the heat. And just keep an eye on it. And while these are cooking, I'm gonna get our hot cherry peppers ready. These are the peppers I'm using, hot cherry peppers, sell them in jars. You can get whole ones. The only ones I could find for some reason were sliced, but it doesn't matter because we're gonna chop them up anyway. Oh, serious elbow grease here. Got this, girl power. Joe? Yeah, see if you can do it. It's really hard. Joe? Look at that.
Like a Snapple?
Oh, oh. Thanks, Julie. These are basically a hot chili pepper in vinegar. So they're tangy and they're spicy, but they're not as knock your socks off spicy as a Calabrian chili paste, which is what you will often see in spicy little sauces like this one. I'm not a huge spicy person, so for me, these strike the right balance of hot, but not too hot. So I'm just gonna chop these pretty finely. I don't want huge chunks of pepper. I really just want these to flavor the spread and to have like little bits of pepper in each bite. If you really don't like spice, you could sub in a peppadew pepper or even a roasted bell pepper here would be nice. The idea is just that you have the tomato and the pepper flavors in the sauce. These look good. They're browning nicely. You can see they're just starting to get caramelized. Now I'm going to add a full 6-ounce can of tomato paste. This recipe makes about a cup of sandwich spread, which is more than I'm going to need tomorrow, but I like to just keep it in the fridge, and Joe eats it on sandwiches. He eats it with crackers. He eats it with everything. So you might as well make a big batch while you're doing it. Great. So I'm just going to mix this in, and we're basically going to cook the tomato paste until it starts browning on the bottom of the pan. Often tomato paste is used to thicken a sauce or a stew or a soup, but here it's actually forming the base of our spread. So rather than having sliced tomatoes on the sandwich, we're going to have a much stronger, bolder tomato flavor. See how vibrant and orange this oil is? That's exactly what we're looking for. And the tomato paste is much brighter red in color. You can also see these nice brown bits all over the bottom. I'm gonna go ahead and turn off the heat, and then we're gonna add the peppers. Looking for about a 1/4 cup here, but this is really up to you. If you wanna make this really spicy, just go for it, add more. A 1/4 cup peppers will give you a nice level of spice that's not gonna like knock your socks off. So we'll stir that in. And then the final ingredient here is about a tablespoon of the vinegar from the jar. I'm gonna loosen up the spread a little bit. All right, let's give it a try. Probably gonna like burn my entire mouth, but all in the name of good food. This is really good. I'm not really a big spicy person, but this works really well for me because of the balance between the tomato flavor and the peppers. It's not like just intensely spicy. It's very balanced. It's a little bit sweet from the tomato and spicy, and then a little bit vinegary. I think this is going to be really good with the mozzarella and the coppa. Yum. I'm going to put this into a jar so that I can transport it easily tomorrow. And make sure to get all of those little crispy bits and all of that delicious oil. That's it for the spread. I'm gonna bring this with me to Brimfield tomorrow, and then when I'm there, I'll assemble the sandwiches and we'll have a little feast after we shop. I'll see you in the morning. Good morning. It's bright and early. Got my coffee, got lunch in the trunk, and we're heading to Brimfield. Brimfield is one of the oldest and largest outdoor antique markets in the country. It is enormous. There are thousands of vendors and there's a ton to see. So I know we're gonna get some good stuff. The hard part is just gonna be deciding what to buy. Eastland's renovating her farmhouse and she's always working on some kind of interior design project, but she's never been to Brimfield. So I'm very excited to be here for her first visit. Danny used to have a vintage store and he goes to Brimfield pretty much every year, so he's gonna show us the ropes. We're about a half an hour away. Getting excited. You ready?
I'm so ready.
It's your Super Bowl.
This is my Super Bowl.
What are you looking for anything in particular?
Honestly, this time around, I'm just looking to take it all in.
Ah! Hi! Eastland, Danny.
Hey, how's it going?
Guys, I'm so excited!
Sometimes when I go antiquing, I'm looking for something in particular, but often I'll just go and let myself be inspired by what I find. I just think it's fun to go with an open mind. You never know what you're gonna find and what's gonna inspire you.
Screamed lighted to me.
Thank you.
Fun new mon.
I
feel like antique fairs like this can be a little overwhelming. Like there's just so much to see. How do you think about, like, what's your strategy?
Definitely overwhelming. I feel like I like to get here early. I was here yesterday. I think I pulled in around 6:45, 7. I usually take a pretty big lap. It takes a bit of extra time, but then you really understand who the vendors are, what they're selling, what the prices are like, and you also get to understand what you are really gravitating towards, and then from there you can start to be smooth.
So you scope it out, get the lay of the land, and go.
Yeah, if I see something that is, really well priced or unique or specific to me, I might jump on it during the first lap. But otherwise, I kind of just like to see what the market is. There.
Lighting.
What about vintage seed packets as place settings? That's such a good idea. I love it. Oh my gosh, genius. They're so fun.
Do you think Joe would kill me if I came home with this?
I can't decide if this is cute or creepy. Danny, you're wearing a different shirt?
Different shirt.
Different hat.
Different bag.
Different guy.
Different guy.
We're gonna head back to the car. I'm gonna assemble the sandwich, and then we'll leave. I didn't go to a big football school, so tailgating is not something that I've done a lot of. It's essentially just a picnic in your trunk, so away. Cooler up. And then I got all the goodies in this basket. Do is make our sandwiches. And I waited to do this until today so they would be fresh. I didn't want to make a sandwich last night and have it sit in the fridge overnight. So I got a baguette and I'm going to cut it in half lengthwise. And then in my cooler, got all the other goodies. Got some mozzarella, some coppa, and the spicy tomato spread we made yesterday. I'm gonna cut the mozzarella pretty thinly. Now I'm gonna spread our delicious spicy tomato spread right on the bottom of the sandwich. And this is gonna get in there and really add so much flavor to the bread and then to the mozzarella that's gonna go right on top. Now I'm gonna layer the mozzarella right on top. Just kind of turning the pieces so they fit. You can also rip them if you need to. Look at that. Okay, this looks great. I'm just gonna turn these. Now I have some fresh basil that miraculously didn't wilt. So I'm gonna do a little basil just right across. I feel like you gotta have basil if you have fresh mozzarella. Okay, it wilted a little, but not bad for being in the car all morning. And then finally the coppa. This is from a farm near us in Pine Plains, New York called Fat Apple Farm. And they make their own cured meats. They're so good. Coppa's like a prosciutto, but instead of coming from the leg of the pig, it comes from the shoulder. And I think it's just kind of a nice alternative to a classic prosciutto and mozzarella sandwich. So I'm gonna take these thin slices and just arrange them right on top. Close the sandwich. Oops, upside down, doesn't matter. Give it a good press, and then we'll turn it right side up and cut it into individual sandwiches. Got our chickpea salad here. I'm gonna let this sit to just kind of come to room temperature. Enamel plates and serveware. Always gotta have it when you're eating on the road. I'm gonna use this. It's actually a cake tin, but I kind of think it works well for a salad too. I think a nice touch is bringing real napkins and silverware, whether you're having a picnic or a tailgate. It just kind of elevates the whole experience. The final touch is just to add a little greenery. Literally anything can be a flower arrangement if you have an open mind. Now it feels like the table's set. I'm just gonna rearrange and then we'll transfer the chickpea salad into this dish. Got a little bit of fresh shaved Parmesan. This is just gonna help revive the salad since we made it yesterday. Frida's here. Now at the party, we're you get wine and beer?
It's over there.
Amazing. Hold on, son. All right, let's slice the sandwich and eat.
Oh.
The Italians know how to do it.
While you're serving me, I'm just feel it's sippy weird.
I can't believe they have beer here. I feel like I'd buy a lot more if I'd had a beer or two. Yeah, don't you?
Totally.
What a great way to spend a day. Thanks for coming along with us. We'll see you next time.